Oh yeah, Cole has a fucking video on the strike as well. Might as well hear him out. He was a healer Bane, wasn't he? Let's hear him out. Let's see what he has to say. Because I'm a healer main and he's a healer main. Let's see what he has to tell me.
People quite upset, and while I think some of it crossed the line, I actually do agree with some of the points made, as my main role is definitely healing. I didn't even realize during the media tour that literally sitting beside me was Xeno blasting through a dungeon without a healer. I'm not surprised. Or saying that that's the worst thing in the world. More on why I say that in a moment, but I'm also absolutely going to say that that's one reason why myself and many other healers have called for more buttons to the DPS and utility side of the kits. Art of War, Art of War, Art of War, Art of War, Art of War. Hashtag give me back Miasma 2 on Scholar, or any other damage button for fun. I'll cover that near the end of the video because I think that's where things could really be enhanced. I'll take a moment here to say that one of the big features coming with Dawntrail was that there was going to be a content difficulty and reward for doing the content rework coming in 7.0. During the Q&A period, Yoshi P did bring up that job homogenization and job identities was something that they were wanting to look at, but that they didn't want to lump in the content difficulty change alongside the job identity change, which could...
That is a good point. They did talk about specifically making the content harder. I'm guessing like redesigning jobs right now would be a lot more difficult while you're making content harder. When you make content, because like again, this is essentially to talk about MMOs, because like same as World of Warcraft or any other MMOs, like raiding essentially is going to be like a set number of mechanics mixed up. When you think about raiding in 14, you got so many same of the mechanics. You got a cleave, you got an in-out chariot, you got rot being passed around as a debuff, you got Nisi, you got limit cut. It's going to be the same mechanics. However, whatever the name of a mechanic is, people will call it by some, like for example, limit cut is always going to be called limit cut the moment you see those shiny little numbers above your head. Nobody knows the name of the mechanic on Rubicante. Nobody knows the name of this mechanic on any of the other fights. Or in E9S, for example. People are going to just call them limit cut. So when... And this is essentially my theory, right? Something stand and let mechanic resolve. Yeah, something like that. But like people need to understand that if they do go towards the promise of making content harder in Dawntrail, they need to focus on that first, because that means jobs will need to be adjusted around that. There's a reason we got Penheim. Oh, you block 5 instances of damages and apply a heal. Ooh, Seraph does kind of similar thing. It kind of heals for each tick of damage. Ooh, some healers got a tool to top up the team almost instantly, you know, Macrocosmos, you know. A lot of these abilities, they're not there because, you know, it's just the job fantasy. Ooh. No, they're there to specifically be designed around fights. If they bring out harder content, the first thing they need to see is how jobs deal with them. And then they can redesign the jobs around them. Again, before anyone fucking screams at me in the comments, I agree with the healing strike. I'm not going to participate in it because you guys are very fucking egregious and loud and volatile about it, and none of you are offering solutions or examples what you want fixed. But I'm in there with you wanting change for healers. But I don't think we're going to see change to healers either until midway through the expansion, and it's going to be very minor, or until 8.0. Because if they're going to introduce some new mechanics, new ways of playing raids, jobs need to kind of wait a second. You know what I mean? So... yeah, and obviously a lot of these people are essentially talking about bring back old spells, ooh-wee, and it's just like, that's, what is that gonna achieve? Some of the old spells, like in Shadowbringer, like end of Shadowbringer and maybe like start of Endwalker, I would have agreed, like bring back some of the tools we had in Stormblood, gimme, yum yum. But now that I'm looking at some of the tool sets for healers in Dawntrail, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with this, bring back some of the toolkits from Stormblood. I don't agree with that. I feel like there needs to be a particular motion in design made towards not individuality, but like a variety of tools, I guess. I feel like a DPS rotation should be present, but it should provide utility. Like if you keep up a specific dot uptime on an enemy that can proc something or something, I believe like it should apply a debuff. For example, everyone who hits the boss heals for like 5 potency of your healing magic. That would be sick. That would be big. Something very tiny, but like the rotation would be more fun if it would feel more fulfilling. And not just, as a filler. Because you have to do damage, just, here, have a rock, go play. But, right, we're at the start of this fucking video and I'm already ranting.
Could combine together overwhelm players.
And can you come closer to the fucking mic, Cole? Holy shit! Why do you, I feel like every video I watch of yours, you're further and further from the mic. Come closer. God damn.
So they want to instead shift the job identity stuff into 8.0. And if you didn't catch that, this is where I'm going to say that you can catch all my media tour coverage easily browsable on my website, evix.gg, ad-free, it's totally free. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking, go without saying that I love the developers of this game. I coined the term, what years, literally how many years ago? I don't even want to think about it, that saying that the developers are a blessing.
Wasn't it supposed to be 500 feet from the mic? I feel like he's further. Every video I watch of his, somehow he's like further and further from the mic. Because, we gotta talk about my fiance cheating on me. And it's like at some point I also hear him moving fucking chocolate wrappers or moving a cup or some shit during these videos. It just gets frustrating. Sometimes I want to give Cole a chance that, okay, let's hear him out. Maybe this time he's not going to spread misinformation or talk about his personal life. Maybe he's going to stay on topic, and then it just becomes irritating to hear him rant about something off topic for 15 minutes, be away from the mic, so I have to listen to it with echolocation just to find where the fuck he's talking from, and then he's also making noise with rappers and shit. Cole, if you ever see this video, clean your room.
And that this criticism does come from a place of genuine love and passion for myself, and I'm sure from others too. Though some posts I've seen across forums, other social medias, this is why we can't have nice things and stuff, maybe a little too spicy given the topic. Yeah, as per usual, I'm gonna have timestamps for the different topics I want to cover because we have a lot of ground. First up, let's get back to Xeno's clear of the new dungeon with no healer. It isn't a surprise to me, other than the fact that we'd be told that it would be a difficulty ramp up in Dawn Trail, and doing it without a healer at all kind of feels, ugh. Now,
difficulty ramp up, but why are we expecting difficulty ramp up in dungeons? Who was expecting dungeons to have a difficulty ramp up? Again, these are high-end raiders. Tell me there's a problem when these people fucking clear savage fights without a healer. Tell me it's gonna become a problem when they start clearing extreme fights without a healer. Or ultimates, then it's gonna be a problem, yeah. If it's gonna be a very easy thing to do for more than just one selective group of players that has been practicing for months, yeah, that's gonna be a problem. But if we're talking about dungeons, holy shit! Is this going to be Tales of Duty Finder Reddit spam all over again? Because it's all these arguments that come specifically from dungeons. What are you people doing in dungeons that you're so proud and egregious about some geopolitical issues in there? Just because these people clear the dungeon, it just means nothing. You should check FF Vlogs, man. Check FF Vlogs. People speed clear dungeons.
Now, thoughts that others have posted that I've been sent, but I'm torn on reading, is they said, does this mean that the only mechanics that healers really exist for at this point is tank busters and AoE damage?
No. What the fuck? No. Final Fantasy XIV is so giga in depth. There's so much in depth. There's different types of damage. There's not breath, but darkness damage, because I realize not a lot of people are gonna recognize breath damage. There's a lot of mitigation, shields, magic, physical damage, healing, all of this. It's just keeping the group alive. People need to understand an efficient healer is a skill expression. Normal healers and raids are gonna be spamming GCDs. It's raid wise and tank busters. Who are we kidding? There's more mechanics than that. There's a lot more mechanics than that. Like, you can't tell me that you're gonna go into DSR, just P1, let's say P1 alone, right? And while the group is taking AoE, while also taking frontals, but also exploding bombs and moving, it's like, and that's just gonna be counted as just a raid wide? You can't fucking tell me that you're gonna summarize everything so simple. Because then we can just talk about tanks. Then, so their job is to just hold the boss looking away from the group and just taking tank busters sometimes. I guess tanks need some more fucking tools.
Now, I'm gonna elaborate and say that I'm guessing that they meant successive tank busters, because even if all the mitigation is blown at once and they eat
True damage, that can also probably count as that. But unfortunately, true damage means it's unblockable damage in League. While in World of Warcraft, in Final Fantasy XIV, it can be mitigated. Not by everything, but by some tools. It can be mitigated by soil, but not Caracoli. Healers who are not very in-depth with their own jobs are not gonna know about shit like this.
eat that hit, and then a tank swap to the other tank that could blow all their mitigation. We're also forgetting the tanks also have an invulnerability button that is commonly used for tank busters. Okay, then we might need a healer? Is that what they're getting at? Let me be careful though when I say that, and I did kind of start laughing and had to stop recording. But I also want to say that I don't want to ruin the fun of tanks or their agency, player agency, over their own health pools. One reason why I've always gravitated towards Warrior myself was I felt I had a lot more agency myself, and Warrior is my personal #1 tank for that reason.
That is a good point. Not the agency part. It's like, don't get angry at other jobs. Like, we've had memes that the warrior is actually a healer job or some shit, or that some of the tanks are there. Like, a lot of tanks have been enjoyed because they have self-sustain and they can do unthinkable fucking things. It's like, why are we suddenly trying to take away their fun? The problem is, it isn't with them having fun. Them having more tools and being more fucking self-efficient is good. The problem is just that I don't know. It's hard to tell what the problem is. There's like a number of problems that people are complaining about, but right now it's just the problem is that the design of healers is just not very majorly enjoyed. Not accepted, but like specifically enjoyed. People will still accept those jobs.
I am not going to shy away from my real feelings. I have dealt with sussy healers in the past.
Like, I love playing Paladin because it's giga strong. It has a whole gaggle of defensives that I can abuse and basically become unkillable. I love Paladin because I also have a range rotation, meaning it's so easy to disconnect from the boss on some mechanics. Like on P4 SP2, where you have to go away, plant a spike, and then move around. It's like, on Paladin, that shit is so fucking easy. You don't have to disconnect and keep going to the boss between snapshots. It's like, you can just do your range rotation if you plan your rotation properly. It's like, are people going to take away Requiescat from me because healers are unhappy? No. Gimme. I want my toys.
And I like having control over my own gameplay and not face planting because the healer didn't pay attention. But, and it's a massive Nicki Minaj-sized one, in easier forms of content, there is an undeniable lack of risk. Like, there is nothing expertise requiring about completing an expert roulette. Now, to be totally fair to the developers, we do not know what expert roulette will look like in Dawntrail yet, but as per the media tour dungeon and current...
I mean, who gives a fuck about the dungeons? Again, it's like, not to like down talk the people and the issues they're bringing up, but who gives a fuck about the dungeon specifically? Let's be honest, you're gonna go into a dungeon for tombstones, probably to get the minion once in a while, even though you're not gonna be farming it, you're just gonna be trying to get it through expert roulette. Why are we giving a shit about what's happening in dungeons? Again, if this shit happens in extreme trials, sure, tell me that. That's gonna be a lot more interesting to find out. But if the issue is dungeons, like, what? Are we really complaining about that?
Current state, it's looking a little rough. Now I'm going to tell you my most brutal, honest, and...
Like, Dragoons are complaining that they still have life surge, and that shit heals them and guarantees a crit. They will gladly get rid of that.
probably will upset people's thoughts. The Dawntrail dungeon is a part of the main storyline, and that is something that even the most casual player who has zero...
That is a good point. Zero. You gotta also keep in mind, in the end of the day, this is an MMO that is also designed to be for babies. It's a fantasy game for babies. It's not World of Warcraft where there's a whole racial war and a lot of blood. I'm pretty sure like the rating on Final Fantasy XIV is a lot less than it is on World of Warcraft. It is still a Final Fantasy game, you know, with adventures and excitement, pizzazz. It's still a game for babies. And those babies still need to somehow clear dungeons. Dungeons are always going to be the easiest content. However you want to beg and plead and cry and piss and shit, dungeons are always going to be the easiest content, and they should be. Criterions should be harder. Variants should be harder. But not dungeons. Who gives a shit about expert roulette?
Interest, like zero interest at all of doing Savage or any kind of rating or extreme trials. Those players will be subjected and expected to complete that, and one beautiful thing about our player base is that we have players from a range of backgrounds and skill levels, and it's necessary to ensure that everyone can complete this main pipeline. If a main story dungeon was made too difficult, it would be a barrier to continue and obviously would have to be nerfed. That being said, which would you choose? Risk making the mainline trial and dungeon content related to the main pipeline of the game too hard, or would you play it safe and go to more of the side of like too easy?
Make
I think
it too
it's a fair
easy.
presumption that most people would say logically that it's a better choice to risk going too easy than too hard. I'm also
It's not really a risk. It's story content that you're gonna do once a week. Nobody's farming these dungeons. At most they'll farm them for tombstones. But it's not repeatable content. At some point people will abandon it. Ultimates, on the other hand, they're still being done. Savage fights, they're still being done. Like, you'll see, you go into Party Finder, you'll see some people still doing some older fights. Actually, hold on, I'm in game. Older extremes. Someone's trying to clear Endsinger. Newbie Glam Farm, Eternity. 10th, 11th, 12th circle. There you go, actually. Mount Rockon, Aloha Island is being done. People are farming older extremes. 8th Circle. People are doing 8th Circle. I'm guessing they're also getting BIS or unlocking DSR, but they're still doing it. Synced, Mine, Coils, T13. People are doing raids. I don't see a single Party Finder group for, hey, I want to spam fucking dead ends. Let's go. Mount Rockon again. This is just like spontaneous looking at Party Finder, because like again, who gives a shit about the dungeons?
also going to say that
They're supposed
this
to be
impacts
easy.
players on the high end too, and I'm being quite serious here. How many of you have been in an expert roulette that takes over
I'm sorry, did this white mage just parried?
25
Okay,
minutes to clear?
that's fine.
Raise of hands. Now I ask how often you've done one and
Wait, what
two,
did he-
and I'm being quite serious here. How many of you have been in an expert roulette that takes over 25 minutes to clear? Raise of hands.
I have. I fucking have. With newer players. Do you know the dungeon, what is it fucking called? Let me find it. This one, Catesis Hyperborea. Actually, no. The Aether Font. The Aether Font dungeon. You know this one, right? Did you know the bear, the first boss of this dungeon, starts spawning some mountains, like some specific object for some mechanic, if you take too long killing it? Sometimes you find out new exciting things because the dungeon's taking too long. But I have spent more than 25 fucking minutes.
Now I ask how often you've done one in around 11 minutes or so.
11 minutes. Yeah, I've done this. We specifically went like no healer, 3 DPS in a tank for some dungeons when we were just farming tombstones. For either relics in Shadowbringers. Actually, we've done the same in Endwalker as well, but we've done it. Fuck, I forgot to turn on Twitch. Man, you kinky.
Likely most people have experienced both. Many people view the roulettes as a direct method to get the rewards, even though I'd say that the hunt train is objectively better, much easier, much more streamlined. The hunt train on Gilgamesh is amazing, and I have so many compliments.
Skip.
Tank and healer are not meshing well. and you're wiping because of it. Is that necessarily enhancing your own gameplay? Is that giving you a better experience? Or would you personally rather just be in and out and have them AoE pull correctly? Okay, I'm doing my full Black Mage rotation on this pack, just mowing them
What
down.
is he talking about right now?
How many people have been stuck in content that they thought that they could complete before their raid time with their static?
See, dungeons, I don't mind if people start doing dungeons and they were expecting to do this faster, but some of you motherfuckers do Alliance raid 15 minutes before raid. Whoever gets an idea to do a quick Alliance raid before raid, you guys need to get your basements checked out. I'm gonna call the cops. I need to see if you have bodies in there. That is normal, not normal thinking.
That's been bait in the past. I was like, oh, I thought that this dungeon would be done in like 20 minutes. Oh, pfft. Just kidding. Actually, that time was an Alliance raid. Oof. Now,
Okay.
I'm gonna finish talking about dungeons at this point, is that healers are far from low DPS in dungeons if they are DPSing the full way through. It's very easy to contribute meaningfully to a dungeon, too easy, I'd say. And oftentimes I've heard, as divined from crystal balls and stars in the heaven above, that I've maybe outdone certain other members of my team of the red category.
Like, what? Calling basement checkup, yeah. I mean, like, it's not hard to find people who you're gonna outdo on damage meters out of the other categories. Because, like, again, dungeons are gonna be meant for newer players as well. That is, like, the dungeons are a place that newer players are gonna be joining in, as well as the high-end ones. Newer players who don't know the rotation properly, they're still leveling it because they leveled through trusts. They didn't watch a guide because they're just, they just like having stickers on their samurai, or they just like doing a monk rotation. Maybe they're a frost mage, maybe they're learning their rotation. It's like, never expect an optimization group in fucking dungeons, but also don't expect people to be, up to par on skill either. Like, don't expect everyone to be able to kind of speedrun dungeons. Not everyone's in it there for that. Some of them are actually still doing story in 3 weeks before Dawn Trail.
More often than not, especially in something like a casual expert roulette run, I feel like my job more there is to remove friction, to do things like expedient, because the tank doesn't have like sprint at that time, and then just spamming my damage stuff and Heart of War or just crazy until I want to puke. Now let's talk about ultimate raids being cleared without a healer. Ooh, this is gonna get me flamed.
Isn't that just top? I swear that's just top, isn't it?
I'm gonna still say it. Please be kind. Please be kind. This comes from a kind.
Actually, no. Top was solo healed. I don't remember if top was cleared without a healer. I know T was cleared without a healer.
Kind place for me. Please be kind. My thoughts are that this talking point gets brought up a lot, and there are two feelings that I get from it. The Omega Protocol was cleared with 75 Vercure, red mage ability, and 75 Clemency casts,
Okay, so it was cleared without healers.
just from Paladin.
Sure.
On one hand, the fact that the Omega Protocol could be cleared without a healer and with such direct healing, because Clemency and Vercure are pretty much as bare bones as you get, that sucks. That sucks to see.
No, it doesn't. It's like you have no healers. I think that's fine either. It's like people need to understand, because like when P at S was too hard, people complained. When some damage was happening in P5 on top, people were still complaining. Obviously, there were some bugs as well, but like some things did happen, and things got nerfed, and it's like things cannot be, specifically like. Healers have this ability to carry a team. They literally have the ability to carry a team because they can rest, they can keep people alive when they're not using cooldowns, etc., etc., etc. The real like carry potential has got to be in the healer toolkit. But if content is going to be too easy, like if content's going to be too hard, healers are going to be necessary. People are going to complain that they are forced to heal rather than do anything else, and that they're forced to, I don't know, there's going to be a different argument. Now that the content is too easy, people are also going to be complaining. It's like that, no, people are not going to be ever happy. Like, it's same with Astro. If RNG remained, one side of the people would be complaining. If RNG got removed and it did, the other side of the people are going to be complaining. I feel like this is one of those cases.
Specifically, I'm talking about the fact that that is even possible. Now, the other side of how I feel is that, hey, that is a lot of on GCD casts just dumped into abilities that honestly should probably in normal gameplay not be pressed. Clemency on a Paladin's a GCD cast and you're spending MP on that. That's crap.
I mean, it's no. Clemency is 50k healing. You need to understand how much healing a Clemency can do, how many pulls it can save. In Party Finder for PAS, they're in, the little, because everyone's taking damage, while having the funny debuffs that you need to combine into Legos or whatever. It's like a Clemency can help a lot, especially for like the point where everyone needs to be top full health. You mean PRS P2 specifically. It's like Clemency can help a lot in downtime, healing, etc. It's like Clemency is a lot of healing. If you're gonna tell me about mana, who gives a fuck? Half our rotation restores mana. Expansion, the Atonement combo, our 1, 2, 3. One of them restores mana. The other, actually, does it? Yeah, it does. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like we have so many tools that restore mana. It's like within the next 10 seconds, you're gonna be full mana anyway. Who gives a rat's toss that is uses mana?
Red
Same with Vercure. Why even have it if you're not going to be using it?
Mage Vercure? When do you want a red mage casting Vercure? Like,
to survive? Deep dungeons? Criterion? And ultimates if it saves a fucking pull? In many situations. If a Vercure is gonna help, yeah, I want him casting. If they need to rest someone and they don't have anyone to target with a damage spell, yeah, cast Vercure for that dual cast. Vercure is a good utility.
if I even saw that in like an expert roulette, I would be like, bro, like you can fully trust me on this. Like EOS can.
No. We're going back to the point where you should not be trusting your co-heal to do most of the heavy lifting or chatting, as you said. Like you should not go into a dungeon with expectations that a healer might carry you through a dungeon. Actually, what the fuck are we talking about? Is he actually finding red mages that need to cast Vercure in a dungeon? Because if that is happening, someone is not doing their job as a healer. If someone feels threatened enough to cast Vercure, what are these examples?
Cover just EOS. I'm not talking about off GCDs, Whispering Dawn, or Fey Blessing. EOS alone, spamming Embrace can cover most of the healing. Like if I saw that in my expert, I wouldn't say it, but I'd be like, what? Actually, super quick point about making dungeons harder. Now that I'm thinking about it. You cannot give people feedback in this game. If you give people feedback this game, hashtag you don't pay my sub, and hashtag you're a toxic elitist.
Speaking of difficulty of dungeons, people are gonna tell you that you don't pay their sub, and their opinion. What the fuck are we talking about right now? You started off on a good topic and then you went somewhere else. What are we talking about here?
Piece of shit. And don't give me feedback. So if you make casual content more difficult, people will need to get ramped up in order to clear it. But you can't give people feedback in this game because you will be labeled as a toxic elitist and possibly banned. I think that's another problem. And before people are like, well, it depends on your tone. Dude, no. I have literally seen people pop right.
This is very off topic. I'm skipping this.
Like how you have these red mages and paladins do that is a lot of GCDs being wasted, and so a healer in this instance can effortlessly cover that healing. That is literally OGCD weaves a lot of it. That is massively oversimplifying it, because yes, I've seen the mitigation.
All these examples are there as fucking situational. You'd be surprised at how many situations, because like if we're gonna get the Shiva Junction or mechanics of that sort, where healers are also kind of obligated to do mechanics instead of just focusing on healing, especially if we're specifically talking about casuals from midcore, the high-end raiders are gonna figure shit out very easily. But the midcore or casual healers could use some help, and if like Bloodbath or some of these healing abilities are gonna help out keeping the team alive during these parts, it's like that's good. It depends all on the mechanics, terminal velocity, or any of the other ones. A lot of these like mechanics are very specific to how you can heal or how people can survive or whether or not healers need help or if people are out of reach. But just like specific, like, I don't know, this is like a very particular situation he's just describing, like, oh, you know, it's very specific. No one knows about the skill level of these people or anything.
Sheet, yes, you need on GCD shields, or they're recommended for a lot of stuff. Y'all know what I get at. Trust me, I get it. But relative to 75 bloody GCD casts of cleansing.
To be fair, 75 within one instance of top. Keep in mind, top is like most of the time the boss isn't even targetable. They're not targeting the boss during the, you know, they're not casting clemency when the boss is targetable and people can do their damage openers, right? That's not what they're casting. Because like clemency is going to be cast, for example, on the on limit cut in P2, for example. You can't target the bosses. What are you going to do? You're going to help with healing, because you're a good fucking tank. Same with Vercures. You're going to help with healing when you cannot target the boss. Good. So like for a fight like top, 76 clemencies or Vercures, that's fine. That's good even. That is really good, because you can help with healing, top people up, keep people alive, and still have mana to reopen on bosses. I promise you, don't stop thinking like a Muppet, please. Because just saying, like, how many clemencies you cast throughout the fight, it diminishes the context of the fight itself. That is a 19-minute fight with a lot of like intermissions when you cannot target the boss, or like that like so much context is needed specifically for ultimates.
It is so much less.
It's very like at this point I don't even know why bring up ultimates in comparison to fucking expert dungeons.
Effort for a healer to go in and do that. So this is why you have that split in how I feel. The fact it even could be done is insane, but the fact is that it would be so much easier to do with the healer. Like, keep in mind, these people are like literally some of the absolute best players of gaming across any game in the world, and they have chosen to hone in on Final Fantasy XIV and spend so much free time fine-tuning and honing things into...
He's stretching this fucking point, but he does have a point. Like, these people are Hind Raiders. Hind Raiders are gonna optimize the fuck out of things. They're gonna try to use every tool in their kit. Don't make a standard looking at them. People keep arguing that Hind Raiders are like 2% of the community or some shit. You just saw 2% of this community solo a fucking dungeon. Who gives a shit? The rest of the community are not gonna have an easier time because of it.
To get through this fight with healer, which they did in fractions of the time on their main normal roles with a healer. And I think that's where my opinion is so difficult to land on this one, because I think that reality is like it is insane,
use your words,
ridiculous to think that
he somehow moved even further from the microphone just to say this. What the shit?
I don't even want to say it. I don't even think it's sane to say a fraction of the player base could pull this off. So to say, oh, we don't need healers in the Omega Pro...
I know, I'm talking about fractions. Like, a lot of people can solo fucking dungeons, let's be honest. A lot of people can do that. But not all of them. Some of them are just not good enough. And this is not me talking down to the casuals and midcores. Let's be honest, some of you do not read your fucking tooltips. Not all of you can do this.
Protocol is objectively a fact, but on the other hand, my brother in Christ, do you really think that you're going to be clearing the Omega Protocol without a healer yourself? I don't. Hell no. And that at a certain point, even let's say that that did become more logical, then you need to look at the realities of healing, which is mostly figuring out how to put the most damage in. And so you're weighing heavier on OGCDs and hey.
This whole conversation is about the whole protest about healing. He's kind of not staying in pod. Not saying on point. Like a lot of the issues that are read about in the post, he's kind of skimming over them and just bringing up a lot of weird fucking examples about like healers just make things easier. Healers are very necessary. Not everyone can do the things they can do. It's like this is kind of like I don't know. I'm halfway through the video. He's not hitting the points that are brought up in these forum posts that I read. I don't know what the fuck his opinion is. He keeps like saying that his opinion is very certain and specific and something nuanced. I don't know, but it's like he keeps straying further and further from the topic. Just like the necessity of healers as a job. That's it. That's all he's talking about. And yet that is not what the people are talking about. People are talking about the design of the job and the like the design of the job and its like skill expression. Because everything they brought up is specifically like DPS cooldowns, how to be more useful in certain areas than other jobs. Meanwhile, this dude just keeps talking about, healers are useful. I don't know. He's just rambling on about nothing so far.
Hey, the co-healer's gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and really minimizing your on-GCD cast so that you can focus the most on DPS. And it's more about a game of efficiency at that point, which I think, to say the least, 75 Clemency casts from a Paladin and 75 Vercures from a Red Mage, I'm pretty confident is not the most efficient way of doing it. And I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. What, you're going to tell me, are you seriously, bro, going to tell me in the comment section, 75 Clemency from a Paladin is the most efficient? Bro, no. No.
Yeah. Yeah, you dumb bitch, yes! Because you keep bringing up fucking Omega Protocol. There's multiple phases, there's multiple intermissions between those fucking phases, you're not always targeting the boss. Helping with healing is good. Having tools to help with healing is good. Being fucking useful is good in a team environment. You keep skipping over that it's a fucking Omega Protocol. That's an ultimate fight that's designed in a certain way. It's not a savage fight, it's not an extreme where most of the time you are targeting the boss and you're losing damage by casting fucking utility spells. Okay, sure. In those fights, yeah. But you still keep bringing up fucking Omega Protocol. They're not just continuously healing. There's not like, 130 fucking casts of healing spells. Compared to logs, like 72 fucking casts of Clemency is not that fucking bad. Considering how much healing a fucking Clemency does, like 50k fucking healing is like really good. It's like, if you're gonna keep using this as an argument, it's like you are not like self-aware within the content you keep claiming that you are rating.
I'm not even gonna, no. There's still gonna be someone saying it, but no. Whereas you can just bring in a scholar, have expedient, have all the heals be managed by them, mostly through OGCDs. They're bringing in chain stratagem, which everyone knows that everyone loves seeing big number go burr. I think that when we talk about it, more from an efficiency standpoint even, not...
If we're talking about efficiency and etc., yeah, there's a reason you need healers. There's a reason you need mitigation healers and you need region healers. For efficiency's sake, yeah. But some people want to see how efficient can they fucking get without the cooldowns. How thin can they thread the needle? Just people are doing this for just skill expression. They're not doing this to establish a meta and just to say like, no, fuck healers. We don't need no healers. That's just warrior players.
We're like, because we already established it's not realistic, but now it's like, even if we're looking at it from an efficiency standpoint, you want that healer. And I also think that this is something that applies to Savage, but I think Savage, solo healing Savage relative to solo healing or no healer top, I think is infinitely more realistic.
People have solo healed P8S, I remember that. I don't remember if people I think people have solo heal P12S, but I don't quote him on this. I haven't checked. Maybe. Let's just leave it at maybe.
Applies to Savage, but I think Savage, solo healing Savage relative to solo healing or no healer top, I think is infinitely more realistic. Although that is still something widely regarded as quite difficult. Although definitely we have seen like it happen. Now I want to cite something that I totally agree with is make everything in your kit.
I like that the footage in the background is him going AFK. We can see the chat.
and job as unobtrusive to your DPS as possible. Coming from Scholar, we all know we use
Why is he just talking about optimization of healers in comparison to other jobs? I feel like he's just not staying on point here. What is the topic here? Damage is king. Okay, cool.
dissipation in the massive majority of situations, either
Sometimes I feel like Cole just doesn't think through what he's talking about because he just saw hashtag, you know, FFXIV healer strike, and he thought, yeah, I'll talk about healers for a bit for shits and giggles, and then it's just he talks about nothing. Again, I'm not bugging. I literally opened some of these forum posts on the second screen. He's not covering any of these points that people are unhappy about. I got all of those, like the three posts that we saw. I see Reddit in front of me. I see the first post that like the one from 2020, and I got the other one from the healer strike. I'm looking at all this, and it's like I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is he covering from this. The healer strike is just there for the title. Huge controversy. Ooh, and then he just talks about nothing. A bit of a disservice, honestly.
at the end of a pack pull to replenish our Aether Flow stacks in a dungeon, or we're gonna use it during like pot windows. Why? Because it gives us 3 Aether Flow charges, which means 3 energy drains, which is 100 potency a pop. So we literally get the equivalent.
He's talking about energy drain optimization. Are we fucking serious here? Chad, am I an angry person? Because I feel like I'm just like, this is just at this point less and less reasonable to fucking listen to even.
Of 1 broil or less than 1 sage dosis cast, all from like getting rid of our fairy for 30 seconds and.
I'm sorry, 1 broil? But like, you don't spend energy drains. Okay, whatever.
Knocking our fairy abilities out, and we still do that. And so everything that we do, even as healers, probably especially as healers, is to make sure that everything in our kit is knocked away in favor of damage being king. And I think that to say that I'm wrong about that would be spitting in the face of absolutely every single healer out there, because there is a reason.
Excuse me? Hold up.
So everything that we do, even as healers, probably especially as healers, is to make sure that everything in our kit is knocked away in favor of damage being king. And I think that to say that I'm wrong about that would be spitting in the face of absolutely every single healer out there, because there is a reason why we use dissipation on an opener. That is a reason why we so often pre-shield.
Not always. Sometimes you need dissipation later. You don't always use dissipation on opener. Are you one of those fucking psychos that doesn't read the explanation on balance? I always have to double check this shit just to make sure that you... See, where's the fucking opener for Scholar? Again, like, if you would have just, like, read this, remember that the exact ability usage in these openers is not strict. If you need to use a heal in the opener or hold AF's Aether Flow stack for later healing to do so, this ability usage, you do a dummy, but not every fight allows it. Healer openers do not... Motherfucker. Why? You do not represent healers. I have no... Whatever.
Shield with the big crit low spread barrier if we don't need it elsewhere in the fight in the first 90 seconds. We do it because every single last drip and drop of potency we have kind of mathed out as being like...
Okay, he's not on topic here either. I'm just gonna start moving.
Is that healer damage kits, with such an emphasis on damage being king, are so important. Because reality is, in a raid, what am I casting overwhelmingly? Broil, 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 broil. Okay, what am I doing in the dungeon? Ardivore, 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 Ardivore. It's a lot. And there are, thank God, things like the Dissipation Opener. Like when they removed Energy Drain, I think it was felt so painfully. At least by me, it was like, ugh.
He's made so many fucking noises so far. I wish he would get to the point. Is he against or in favor of, like... improving the healing DPS kit?
Even though it's only 100 potency, and yes, 3 casts of it is still less than 1 single sage doses. It was just like, having something to do felt good. And even going into Dawn Trail, Scholar's looking at 1 single OGCD weave after casting Chain Stratagem. And I am happy. Let me be so clear. I am so happy to see the developers taking the healers in this direction. Every healer got at least one new damage button, whether it's on the GCD or not. They at least got one, and thank God for that. That's a
Does he know chain is on 2 minutes? So you get an OGCD every 2 minutes, and he's happy for it. This motherfucker says he's a scholar main. People are asking for miasma back, for double dotting and shadowflame to shadowbane to spread it across groups. Is he actually taught? I don't know what.
a good direction, and I support it fully. I'm so thankful for that. I think this is a better direction for sure, and I'm happy for it. But at the same point of time, how is that going to shake up my dungeon gameplay much? I mean, now I guess I'm going to cast Chain Stratagem, which is still single target in like a pack pull of mobs, which I mean, sure, okay, you could justify, hey, well that one mob takes more crit. It makes me feel all kind of ways. But now we're going to have to cast that in order to get the 2-minute AoE damage over time effect, which in a dungeon pool will be much more.
Okay, I think I figured it out. He's just monetizing the drama right now. Next point. This is very important. Ooh, I wonder what's important.
And this could always change because, I mean, I'm still thinking about things, but I'm at the point where I don't think that in the main story quest line associated content that there is any way that we can justify making it much more difficult, because we cannot block players, but this casual content is kind of a slog to go through.
So, the whole healer strike is about improving the game design, at least as far as I understand. Like, I'm looking at all these notes on the side. No one's talking about specifically the content. Some of them are, but most of them are specifically complaining about the kits, the design and the role of a healer. This motherfucker keeps talking about difficulty of the dungeons and then comparing it to an ultimate fight. Compares dissipation usage DPS comparing to clemency fucking usage in an ultimate. I don't know. He's like off the rails. I feel like he's just monetizing the drama at this point. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I tried to support some of his points that I do agree with at the start of the video, but at this point he's just going further and further away from the topic. Am I not understanding? Like, if anyone in the comments can fucking explain what the fuck is happening here. Oh, yeah. Am I bugging? Because this is a 22-minute video. So far he's like barely stayed on point. I'm not seeing a lot, like, any or like barely or any fucking points covered from the healer strike post. Like, I literally opened it because I was already confused halfway through it. I opened it like on the other screen. I'm looking at it right now. I'm just not getting it. Is he actually just monetizing drama? Because nothing he's talking about is kind of sticking to a point like related to the topic.
As healers, like me personally, I see myself doing Sage through expert roulette. I 100% do. I think that it will be much more engaging for me. But now, on the other hand, you cannot make it more difficult because you cannot block the players, the more casual players, the people who just want to do like RP or just want to do crafting and stuff. That's not fair to them.
In dungeons? Are we still talking about the same fucking thing?
And then on the flip side, while healers may not explicitly be a requirement for the Omega protocol as it's been proven, healers make such a incredible difference in efficiency that not taking a healer, even if you could get away with it, which again requires such a level of precision and such a level of skill, I think that is...
I feel like he's repeating what he talked about like multiple times now.
ridiculous for... Unless you have done it yourself, I think it's insane to read. I think that is like the level of hubris of like so much efficiency. And I also do think that it would be probably pretty unlikely to hear people universally say that healing is trivial in those fights. At least the prog portion.
Again, he's talking about needing healers and the efficiency they provide.
Clear. Once you have something on farm, I get it. The mechanical sense of I see this cast bar, I hit Sacred Soil, it comes out and even me. I get it.
I'm done. Nothing like I skipped a couple of parts, but like 19 minutes into this video and he's just not on topic. What is the point of like contributing to the topic of healer strike if you're not contributing to the topic of the healer strike? Like, at this point, I am more curious about like the solutions and suggestions some of these players are offering specifically. But like, the more I'm listening to Cole, he has nothing to offer. This is like literally 20 minutes of nothing. I don't know. It's like this is like 22 minutes of fucking talking about nothing. I feel like this offered nothing to the strike. It brought the attention to it. People are gonna Google it at least. I'm happy for that. But it's like he's talking about nothing. He's comparing an expert dungeon to an ultimate without any context, and saying, "Oh, don't worry, healers are always gonna be needed. They provide efficiency. Yada 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 yada." Professional yapper. Yeah. I agree with that. It's like he's talking about nothing, and he's still fucking far away from the mic, which is even more annoying. I don't know. This video just left me fucking frustrated. Whatever. It's like, I don't know why I even try. It's like I thought the video popped up on my feed, and I thought, okay, Cole is gonna offer something to the, he's gonna help with the healer strike. He's gonna provide some feedback, maybe some wishes, he's gonna voice the opinions of the people on the board. No, he just kept yapping about fucking nothing. Things that are irrelevant. No, healers are very useful. They provide efficiency. They're very needed. Sometimes people can clear content without healers, but let's be honest, healers are not trivial. They're very needed. It just keeps going for 20 fucking minutes on nothing. Sometimes he even like starts a topic and then goes off the rails on his own. It's like I don't know if he has like chronic ADHD or what's happening there. I don't know. It's like I am fucking that video literally exhausted me. It exhausted me.